All right, everybody, you made it to the final week. Cheers. If I had like something cool to celebrate, I would, but I don't have anything cool to celebrate because I'm not cool like that. I get rid of everything in my house. So Whitney's probably got a crown somewhere I could have worn. Okay, so hopefully you guys completed week 8, your last week in your Direct Sales Foundation course, and our agenda for today. We'll talk a little bit about last week's challenge and some wins. Are you ready to graduate, right? We'll talk about how to connect with your team and what's the most important question you can ask your team member to help them. I have a little bit of a role play. We talk a little bit about motivation, and then we'll announce the final challenge and let you guys and tell you what to expect next, basically. All right, so last week's challenge, I apologize. It was a little, you guys were awesome. My directions must have been a little confusing. You guys were awesome though. So because you're right, practice makes perfect. So I had Holly and Melissa and Kara. So just like you could have even just started the guarantee, but I really do. I love hearing what you guys are doing. So it's if you can return something within 30 days, awesome customer service. And let me tell you how I fit into this piece of the puzzle. Let me tell you about my part. My mission is to create a team. That part. That's it. You guys, most of you are nailing it. But I wanted you to know that, but you guys did a great job with that. Okay. Wins. We're going to do wins today, and I want you guys to consider this. You can share anything. It's fine. You can share, like we have in the past weeks, but I want you to think about how have things changed for you since we first started. It's actually 9 weeks ago. So perspective or confidence or your method, those kinds of things. So go ahead and unmute yourself and we'll do some of those. Danielle says I wanted some clarification, so I did the least amount of work as possible. That's perfect. That's brilliant. Everybody's the same as they were 9 weeks ago. I'm certainly not. I will tell you that. I'm not. My life has never been richer after 9 weeks of Tuesday nights with all of you. So there's that for sure. I will just let us sit in awkward silence. That's okay. We can sit here until 9. I have blocked out until 9. So I'm just going to let you guys sit in awkward silence. Let me give myself a peppermint beadlet, even though you can't smell my breath. Or 5. And we'll wait. My math skills have increased. You're such a jerk. I actually have made you guys worse for the wear, I think. I think I probably, yeah, okay. I deserve that one. I deserve that one for sure.
Okay, well, I'll start.
Okay, thank you. Praise the Lord.
So I just was saying to Danielle 3 seconds ago when we were coaching, I feel like, so my brother-in-law just got married this weekend, and the fog is lifting a little bit from the chaos of all that wedding stuff. And I feel a little bit overwhelmed in a good way with Natalie's not anymore, but with the people on my team on this call. I mean, with all of us, but I just feel like each one of you have taken hold of the launch training and of the outlines and understood the big picture way faster than I did. And Amy was my coach. She can attest to it. And that she bashed her head against the wall. And I talked to Holly Kronberg for 10 minutes and she's enrolled 40 people. I just am it's honestly amazing to me. And it almost feels overwhelming. You guys are all on your own, such good, Natalie's back. Such good leaders, just inherently, and you understand things so well that it feels I hope I don't let you down. So I really just feel I know this sounds really cliche, but I feel so blessed to be able to be on a team with you guys. And it makes me feel a little weepy because I just can't believe I've done this course 4 times, and I feel like you guys are still teaching me a lot. So I'm just really thankful. That's how feel like our team is drastically different than it was 9 weeks ago, and I'm really thankful.
Gary's crying and clapping in the background.
Oh, Gary, I've been crying all weekend, so I need to stop.
I think so.
He's softy. I don't think that was to you, but you're welcome. He's gonna cry. He's gonna cheer up anyway. I want to read what Melissa said really quick. You don't want me to unmute. More organized in my head. Now that is a beautiful thing. That is a big win right there. More focused, ready to set up. Just got to nail down childcare. Amen. Amen. So, and thanks for sharing. Yeah, I do think it's remarkable to see the progress for this whole group on here as you guys, I don't tend to rate groups on the amount of baggage they bring, but you guys brought very little baggage and you just like exploded through it. Like you guys were willing to just be like, you know, for good or for bad, like, Amy, your math skills suck. Like they bite. But I will work through some of the things you're asking me to do. And if you ask me to do a video, even though you think I'm like, you might think that was nuts of me to ask you, you did it and you leaned in. And there has been a lot of fruit from that. So I would totally second everything that Em says for sure. I don't know if we can top what Em said. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. Does anybody else have anything they want to share? Because I can start the awkward silence all over again.
I'll share. I feel like I really like the wording and kind of the philosophy of the training too. Like I feel like it's really empowering. Like just like if something's awkward, just call it like, hey, I'm calling you out of the blue or whatever. Like I feel like that is almost freeing, especially for like an MLM kind of thing. People are expecting to like have you try to like pull the wool over their eyes and like trip them into like buying something. Whereas this is, I feel like it's very like, let me be kind to you and let me like, here's some words on how to be kind to you and like encourage you through oils, like, which is what I want to do. Like, I feel like I want to care for people. And I feel like this really, like, just the verbiage and everything really kind of fits well with, like, empowering me to care for people using oils, if that makes sense.
It does. And that just filled my soul more than you will ever know. Yeah. Yeah, it does. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, well, now we need to, so I'll stop getting weepy for a minute here. Thank you, Holly. That was beautiful. Anybody else have anything that they want to share while I have a moment?
I will share.
Sorry.
Okay, go for it.
Which one?
How about Danielle first and then Devora, because that's alphabetical.
Okay, I shared with Emily a while ago, but like, I mean, yes, all this other stuff that's been said, but I actually didn't know how much of a leader that I am. Like, I knew I always liked control, but I didn't actually know that, like, I was more of a leader. So I found it really helpful, not only like for this, but also in my like other full-time job that I do of like, no, like things could be better and like feeling confident to use some of the skills I learned through this also in that job, which is really like invigorating, feeling like even though I'm not in technically a leadership position at work, like I can still be a leader there with some of the stuff that I've been learning through this too.
Thanks, Danielle. I always think that it's so interesting how much like a lot of this stuff translates into other stuff too. So thanks for sharing that. It's always kind of blows my mind like, oh, that was interesting. That actually carried outside of oils. Devora, you go for it.
Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you guys it's been just an awesome journey with all of you. And I know I'm not part of your team, but we're all the bigger doTERRA team. And so it's been just just really encouraging to see how you guys work together as a team to grow your confidence and encouragement and training. And Amy, you're an awesome coach. And so thank you for letting me be a part of this. And I'm really going to miss you guys. Like, I wish I was a part of their team. But it's also given me the courage and the confidence as a leader to kind of create a similar culture in what I want to do with my team. And just you guys are doing amazing things. And Emerge is such phenomenal training. I have had a lot of training, and this was by far just something that is really practical and really easy to start to implement. And so I see how I've grown just in that little bit of time, and the things, you know, even just like with referrals and things that I wasn't doing before. So it's been a lot of fun with you guys, and I just wish all you guys the best in your businesses and your team and your life. So thank you.
Thanks, Devorah. It was really fun. And who would have thought when we spoke to each other at leadership that this is what would have transpired? So kind of cool to look back on. And I would imagine you'll run into these crazy ladies. You might want to watch out for us at convention.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it'll be fun to meet all of you guys in person and just, you know, get to be friends, you know, doTERRA friends and family for life, I guess.
Yeah, Crossline friends are the best. So thanks for being a part of it and listening to our shenanigans, Devorah. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for sharing. This was really good. I think it's good to kind of pause and reflect on all that's transpired, the good and the bad. Okay, so here's what I want to just consider for a little bit with you guys. Are you ready to graduate? Okay, so I'm going to throw a link in the chat box, and it's a link to the sales assessment quiz that you guys took in week 0, okay? So I want you guys to go ahead and pull up that link. Let me know if you have any issues, and I want you to take the sales skill assessment quiz. And what you'll do is email the results to yourself, but then forward them to me. So take some time to do that. I just put my email in the chat box in case anybody was missing that. I don't know where Bobby is. She's picking strawberries according to her Facebook page, I think. Of course. Gary thought I was sitting here while everybody rated me and then emailed me there. That's what you could do. You could do that. But hashtag math. Oh, yeah. Okay, I see Holly's is coming. Good. That means people are winding up. Give me a thumbs up when you're done, and so I don't leave anybody behind as we keep going. There's Danielle's coming through. Okay, so some of you are probably just wrapping up. For those of you who have finished dinner, tell me some of your thoughts after filling that out. What are, how did that feel? I'm getting really good at awkward silence by week 9. Okay. Holly says, good. I think there was improvement. I'm sure there was improvement. Yes. Yeah. Wasn't it kind of interesting to, I remember, you know, from in that time of 8 weeks being like, I learned a lot. Like we moved some things forward, you know, looking at that. And sometimes I looked at it and I thought like, oh, I am still really terrible at some of those. So it's a little bit of both. But I hope that it's a little bit helpful to look at the whole scope of that. Remember feeling like, I hope I make 1 sale for my closing percentage. Look at how far you see. It's really, I know it feels like, well, I don't know, maybe to you guys, it feels like an eternity. You know, it's a short time that we're together, but so much, you know, like there's so much growth, there's so much change. So some of the things to think about here. So if you're thinking about, am I ready to graduate? So first of all, did you finish the program? Yeah, well, I'm sure I don't get to see the percentage of what you've completed in your Direct Sales Foundation, but you guys have been very faithful at being on and doing your assignments. So I would imagine, yes, you've finished the program. Did you make forward progress on any of your skills, even one? Raise your hand if you made forward progress on at least one skill. Yeah, holla, right? Thank you. Okay, there's Natalie's coming in. Perfect. If you moved the needle on any of these skills, like you should be thrilled. Think of, again, what you've accomplished in 8 weeks. And this is a question I like to ask myself, like, who here enrolled more people in the past 8 weeks than they did in the previous 8 weeks? Yeah, right? So really good progress there. Be encouraged for sure. And who loves their doTERRA business? Maybe even a little bit more than when you started this program, right? It's hopefully maybe a little bit more concrete, maybe a little bit more enjoyable. Maybe not. I'm just kidding, but it should be, right? If you're looking at these and you're feeling a little overwhelmed, I just want to encourage you, like, you know how when you're in the airplane and they say you need to put on your oxygen mask first? What are the skills? I want to talk through the skills that are like putting on your own oxygen mask first, that you need to get down pat before you start coaching others. So can anyone guess which skills are going to give you the most bang for your buck, which are most important? There's 3 of them. If you can't set an appointment, do you think, right? Setting an appointment. Okay, there's your tip. The other one rhymes with, yes, thank you, Merles, referrals. Thank you, Holly. I also have great rhyming skills. And the last would be closing. Okay, so setting appointments, closing, and referrals. That's your oxygen mask. You need to get those 3 down pat. Every time. You don't have to be perfect every time, but you need to be pretty comfortable with those if you want to be helping somebody else work on their skill set. Okay, connecting with your team. So if you, maybe some of you already are, maybe if some of you are not there yet, but that's okay. If you were to be coaching a team member, what do you think are some important questions to be asking them? Anybody have any thoughts on this? You guys are really chatty tonight, so work with me here. I'm just kidding. But if you were coaching a team member, what are some questions that you think you'd want to ask them?
Can you be more specific?
Yes. So if you're like having, like how M does with you guys or I do with you, if you're having one of those calls and you're doing it with one of your leaders, what are important questions to help ask them as their coach, as somebody who wants to help them move forward? What are some important questions that you might ask them in that scenario?
What are their goals?
I like it. What are your goals? That's a good one.
What do you feel good about and bad about?
Gary says, what do you feel good about and what do you feel bad about? Those are good questions, Gary. What else?
What would you like to work on?
What would you like to work on? This is good. This is good. Okay, so are you guys ready for the $1 million question? It's coming. Are you ready for it? What is hard for you right now? Okay, that's the $1 million question. And this is a good question to ask because it's specific and it's succinct. This is much better than how can I help you? Tell me how I can support you. It's like when somebody goes through a tragedy and all you can think of is saying like, let me know if there's anything I can do to help. And that's like nobody ever says like, yeah, now come to think of it, I need my laundry done. Like, no, that's not how it, that's just not how it works. So you need to be really specific. So tell me what's hard for you right now. Okay, so that's your $1 million question if you're trying to be concrete in helping somebody. What do you guys think, what would be some common responses? So if you said to somebody who is new, you said to yourself right now or 4 weeks ago or 7 weeks ago, what is hard for you right now? What are some of the things that you might have said or might still say? Time. Yeah, finding time. What about finding people? Referrals, phone skills. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Referrals again. I love it. I have no shows. I have people that don't believe that oils work, whatever. So here's the beauty of this. These are things that you've already learned about in this course. Maybe, none of us have perfected it, but we've moved the needle forward. And so you can go back to the corresponding week and help them. So let's just take a little trip down memory lane. Remember how you felt, maybe you don't, maybe it's a good thing that you don't. Remember how you felt when you got off of our first group coaching call, week 0? Probably a little overwhelmed, probably a little bit like, what have I signed up for? I hope this is going to be okay. And then think about all that we went through. In week 1, we set goals. There was a sales tracker. There was like new scary things. In week 2, I told you had to do a video, okay, if you wanted to do the challenge. And in week 3, you had to learn how to talk about doTERRA succinctly for a company story. Then you actually had to learn how to ask for the sale without feeling like a terrible person. As for referrals, that's a big one. Recruiting, holy cow, the list goes on and on, okay? So at all of these points, you had different emotions. It's been a journey. And I would imagine that none of you felt 100% comfortable and confident on the first week. No, it's been a process. It will continue. So I want to encourage you, if and soon, you guys will be looking at your little, the next person, and you'll be thinking, I have all this information. I don't even know where to begin. And I just want to encourage you to start simple and to remember that it was a journey, and to have grace for your people as you're helping them along, because it's just a process, and focus on one thing at a time. I mean, sometimes you're going to work with people that need the big picture, and that's okay. Give them the big picture, but then you're going to need to break it down. Otherwise it's going to be hard to take into bite-sized pieces. So is anybody gonna, when they have their first person who wants to sell oils, are you gonna just give them an outline, print them off an outline and hand it to them and say, good luck? Is anybody gonna do that?
Sample them.
Gary says he's gonna sample them. You're terrible. No, because part of the journey was figuring it out, was practicing, was role playing, was figuring out how to do a live video, was being like, that wording is terrible. I would never say that. And oh my gosh, I feel so much better about this wording. I think this feels even somewhat comfortable. I can do this. Don't rob them of that process. Don't just hand them an outline and say, this is what you say. Let them have that process of making it their own, because this is not a script. This is a chance for you to put your fingerprint on how you want to go about this with the principles that we've worked on. So just keep that in mind too. Okay, I'm going to check the chat really quick. Yes. Oh my gosh. I am going to confess that there have been a lot of outline changes from seasoned leaders because of what you guys have put in your outlines. Like, this is not like a tiered thing of like, so-and-so has been emergified for this long and this long or whatever. It's crunchy hippies, boom. Seriously though, like there's so much to be learned from the way that you guys have gone about this. So just feel really confident about that. Mm-hmm. Is Melissa on here? No. Oh, yeah, she is. Melissa, did you get that from an Instagram story? Anyway, that's random. I'm not going to ask that. Okay, coaching role play. I'm not perfect at coaching, but let's just give this a shot. And we're just going to kind of break this down if need be. But does anybody want, it's not going to be difficult. I promise. I'm not going to make you cry. I'm going to be really kind, empathetic, even though it's my bottom strength. So does anybody want to volunteer to just do a coaching role play with me? Pretend you're one of my team members or working through something. You can even make up your answers. Okay, it was from Keely. I feel better. Yes. Don't make me pick somebody. I am going to pick somebody. This is so silly. I bet. Who has a quiet background? Danielle, do you have a quiet background? Oh, Devore says I will. All right, Devore, you're in. You're in, girl.
Oh, good. I get to be a part of your team.
Okay, so can you share with us all right now either something that is hard for you in your business or even maybe something that like you have a team member that is hard for them and we can even kind of role play through that. But either one of those. Tell me something that's hard for you right
now. What's hard for me is just getting leaders to show up and do what I tell them to do.
Awesome.
Whether it's, implementing training or just simple things, my business isn't growing, I'm not profiting, I'm not making any money, and then I give them these steps to do and they don't do it.
Okay, good. Tell me a little bit, like, is this something you've experienced for a while? Is this newer? Are you trying to like convey emerge stuff to them? Tell me a little bit more about that.
I've kind of started to do a little bit of emerge stuff with them, but just simple things like, taking the Strength Finders test and seeing what their strengths are so I can know better how to help them and, how to, what my strengths and their strengths are together. So even just that, like they all showed up to the call, but nobody has taken the Strength Finders test yet. I mean, it's like, okay, if you can't even take a simple, so it's personal development and it's also the sales part, the skills part too.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, perfect. So have you tried anything so far that's helped or nothing is working, it sounds like?
Yeah, nothing is working. I mean, they say that they want to do this, that they're in, like I said, they're showing up for the calls, which is a step. So it's slow progression, but yeah, just getting them to kind of put action to their words.
Awesome. So if we were to talk through a couple of like key points for helping them move them to action, would that be helpful?
Yes.
Okay. So here's a couple of thought number one, people don't like homework. And I'm not saying that's what you were giving to them, but I think that anytime somebody walks away, it depends, like especially early on with like an assignment when it could be something like, hey, like let's take 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I know StrengthsFinder takes longer. So, but let's take time right now, like part of our call, part of our time together, and you guys are going to all go do your StrengthsFinder. And I feel like there's that kind of that baby step of bringing people in that way. So I would really encourage you to let them do it with you or, do it side by side and work your way up to saying, go do this. I know that seems a little bit like hand holding, but it doesn't always last forever.
Yeah, that sounds good. Kind of like what you did with us with, going back and doing our assessment. We all did it together.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Then that they did it too.
And it's just done.
The accountability. Yeah.
We all have long to-do lists, right? So that's a thought for you. My other thought for you is this, and this is something, did this week talk about gaining buy-in? Did Asha talk about that?
Yeah.
Yes. No. Yes. Did we talk about gaining buy-in?
I don't think we have.
Okay, so your team members are not going to do anything you ask them until you show them you're not supposed to use like never and always. It's like in a marriage argument, but work with me here. Your team members are not going to do what you ask them until they understand why it's important to them. So you need to connect it back to a pain point, which they have. Like, do you feel like you're moving forward in your business? No. Like, do you feel like you're in your zone of genius? No. Okay, would it be helpful if we matched up your strengths and showed you the things that you could work on to help you build your doTERRA business in your zone of genius and actually like grow your business and make money? And they're going to be like, yes, tell me everything I need to do. And they're going to do it. So it's very easy, and it's just easy to be like, this is what I need you to go do. But if you take the extra time to explain why it matters to them and why it's important to them, their follow through will be significantly better, and it will save you about 500 hours on the other end. You can either take like 5 minutes to like help them connect that, or you like then ultimately you might pay the price on the other end if you don't. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so I hope that, do it with them, and then make sure you connect it, like gain that buy-in by saying this is what this is going to help. This is like the pain point that this is going to help you with. And that's not made, like these are things that they've told you. They're not made up things.
Right.
You feel a little bit better about it?
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Em has a good point why she loves the goals tracker, because then it's not on you as a coach. You can be like, this is kind of what we had talked about, so let's look at the goals tracker, because it is kind of awkward. Like a coach, like you guys like don't ever want to feel like bringing down the hammer, but when you can look at the third, like something else that is like, this is what this talked about, that makes it much easier, because like nobody likes feeling that way, right?
Right.
Background. Can anyone hear that? Devora, do you feel you're feeling better about that?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Thank you for sharing your example. So like I said, like you just need to ask, what is hard for you? What have you tried so far? If we were to come up with a plan to help you work on that, would that be helpful? So kind of talking through that on the front will be really helpful.
Okay.
Whitney is really sick and she's got spots all over her, and I'm so anxious about it. Okay, sorry. Sorry, there's my moment. I'm having a mom moment. Okay, let's talk about, we're getting there, guys. Motivation. Okay, have you guys, Gary, do you need me? Okay, if you guys can hear me, okay, I'm gonna keep going. Can you hear me okay? Okay, so do you guys sometimes feel like, and again, you guys aren't quite yet to the point where some of you are working with people, some of you aren't, but like where you're working with somebody and they don't seem motivated and you're like, what is wrong? Like, why aren't you motivated? Like, what's going on here? Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the 3 keys of motivation. Okay, so what people need, here, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so social science shows that there's 3 concepts for motivation. It's purpose. People want to make a difference, and very much oils allows us the opportunity to do that. Autonomy. People do not want to be micromanaged. And mastery. This is the weak point. This is our job. Our job is to help them with number 3. That's how you help motivate people, is by helping people feel confident about what they're doing. Okay. Does anybody here like to just love doing something that they're not good at or they're unsure about doing? No, people don't like to do things that they're not confident doing. That's hard. So you can unlock hidden motivation by just helping people be more confident and master things. And if somebody's more confident and they do a better job and they get good results, then they get more confident and they get more results. And there's just this cycle. So if you can set somebody on that cycle, you'll be really good. So some of the different things is, help them with support. I'm writing out. Help them set realistic goals, right? We talked about that. Then you have to walk them through it. This is what this is going to look like. And then make sure they feel good about the goals, because if they don't, it's not going to happen. Train, practice, evaluate. And I think the biggest key is to identify the obstacles and remove them. What's hard for you right now? What's difficult? How can we work through this? What can that look like? Okay, so just some thoughts for you about that. But truly, if you're feeling like somebody is stuck or you yourself are stuck, then I would really encourage you to think like, I bet if I can get more confident at this and practice this and ask my coach or help my person practice this, then we can move forward off of this. Okay, now you guys are masters of motivation. Does anybody have questions about that? Okay. Does anybody have any takeaways or thoughts as we're wrapping up here, either about what we've talked about today or in general, since we've been kind of diving, we've opened up our launch box for this past hour, 37 minutes. You guys ready to hear about what's next? Okay, so what's next? Here's some things that you can expect. You can expect coaching calls with your leader. For a lot of you here, that's Emily. For some of you, that's me. You know, depending on how many hours a week you're working, that could be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. But you're going to receive that ongoing support to help you master and feel more confident at these skills. That's part of the journey. 2, I will be starting another round of this. I'm not sure. I know I put up some start dates in Fierce Leaders. I have a commitment that came up that might be shifting some things around, but be watching for that. If you have somebody on your team that this would benefit them, then invite them and hop on with them and support them in that way. The third thing you can expect is I will hopefully be reaching out to you to make sure you don't have any final questions, to get your feedback and to touch base probably in like a 2-week time frame. Give me 2 weeks for it, people. 4 is make sure you're part of Fierce Leaders for ongoing support, which I'm sure most of you are. I will leave the current group that we're in open, but I'm not really going to be managing or watching it. So do most of your posting over in Fierce Leaders now. And the last, this is the last and probably the most important thing. No, I'm just kidding. Your week 8 challenge. Remember, if you complete this and you've completed all the challenges, I've got $50 for you, okay? So you just need to email me the results of your sales assessment quiz and share with me in Google Drive your sales tracker. And have that filled out, you know, maybe for the past few months, depending on you know, as best as you can. If you haven't done it, fill it out for, you know, a month or 2. If you've been doing it, then just send me what you have. But does that make sense? Sales skill assessment quiz results and your sales tracker shared with me in Google Drive. Any questions about either of those? Any final questions? This is your chance. Don't ask me anything about numbers. Look at you guys. You guys don't need me. You guys are so over it. You're like, Amy, I just nailed these 8 weeks. It was really 9 weeks. I fooled you. But you guys are launched. You are launched. The launch training. That's right. I feel like a round of applause. You can only hear my clapping because everybody's muted. But you guys did an awesome job. I'm super impressed. I will miss this, but there will be more shenanigans in Fierce Leaders. I promise. And don't hesitate to reach out for support. Like, this isn't like, you know, you, again, most of you have M, and there really is no better person to have. But this is not just like we drop everybody after 8 or 9 weeks. Like, we are here. This was just a really concentrated effort because not everybody wants to spend an hour with me once a week. So M knows what it's like. It's rough. Okay. Well, you're launched. Bye. Have a good life. See you later. Changing my phone number. All right, seriously, I'm gonna let you guys have a good night. I look forward to seeing your results and all of that and reflecting on all the growth that has happened. You guys really have done a good job. Okay, peace.